Hi crafters, Raquel here with paints and glitter. Today I'm coming along with a very quick tutorial sharing how you can create this adorable card. I am using the Tonic Studios Elegant Armoire gift box die set. Believe it or not, I'll be using just pieces from this set to create this gorgeous little card here. I'm also using Craft Perfect papers from Tonic Studios along with some others, as you can tell. And the gold papers that I'm using are polished gold and majestic gold, and also just a tiny little piece of gold dust, and that's also available from Tonic Studios. You can get them in a bundle or you can get them separately, and as you can tell, there are little pearls that I'm using there from my stash. The shimmer that you see on that paper there on the top is actually the Nuvo Vintage Drop in Gilded Gold. So I'll be using that. And then the pink in the center of that one little lock is actually the Nuvo Crystal Drop in Pink Orchid. And of course I'll be using my Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. I'll also be using the little ribbon here, which is Crafter's ribbon in bright white. This is 3mm in size, and also Craft Perfect dimensional foam pads. I'll only be using one, but you can definitely grab Velcro dots or magnets, depending on how you want to create this version of card. But I did use 3 little Velcro dots here, and that's what's holding my card closed, and when it opens it looks like this. And I also use 2 card bases from Tonic Studios, and those come with envelopes. They are card blanks in ivory white, and these are US A6 size. This came free in the last Tonic craft kit, but you can definitely grab it from Tonic Studios, and it made it super easy to create this little card. Just join 2 of those together and cut them down to size to create this gatefold style. So stay tuned if you want to watch the process on how I made this. To begin, I am using 2 of the card blanks that I mentioned. And what I'll do is take the fold line and match it up with the 2 1/4 inch line on my guillotine. And that's what I'm going to use to cut off the excess. That way I have these cut perfectly in half on the front portion. Then I'm taking the decorative panel that will adhere to the inside of the card. Once I have layered those 2 bases together and made sure that the fronts are nice and straight and burnish them with the bone folder, then I'm going to be able to decorate the inside. And this is a super easy way, of course, to create a gatefold card. And what I'm pointing out there is that you can either stamp a sentiment onto that panel, or you can leave it as a decorative panel and then write your sentiments on the 2 outer portions for the inside of that card. I did cut down also some strips that are going to decorate the front of this card. However, they don't cover the entire front, and that's okay because this is going to have a different focal point, and I was just using leftover pieces of cardstock that I thought would match really nicely. They were all from the same collection, and this is just to cover that outer portion, so I did adhere those as far out to the edge as possible. And now these pieces here do measure 1 1/4 inches wide, so that ensured that both of those are nice and even. And then of course you can cut them to the height that you prefer, depending on how wide you like to have a little frame on the front of your cards. So I did distress these using my Tim Holtz scissors here, so you can get these from Tonic Studios as well. They have a really nice serrated edge, so if you like shabby chic or just distressing your papers, then that's a super easy way to go about it. Using my Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive, I'm now going to adhere these panels to the front. And if you do want to close this card with magnets, you would be placing those magnets on before adding these 2 panels, and that would be a different style of closure. However, I'll be using Velcro. Now, using these pieces that I have cut out using the Elegant Armoire die set, they do look like small tickets, but they also look like the little metal closures that you find on a fence, and that's what inspired me to create this card. I'm also using the smaller pieces that do cut out with a little hole, and those are meant to be to open the doors of the armoire, but I wanted to use them to resemble hinges, so I did adhere these to the side of that ticket shaped piece of card. I did that 3 times, and it does have a little score line that you can follow, so that made it super easy to line up. Now, using this other decorative piece that does also emboss into the paper as it cuts it, it does not cut out that center portion, so I did use a craft knife to cut those little pieces out from the center, and I'll be using what should be the little doorknob, if you will, for the drawers, or drawer pull is the correct word. I'm going to adhere those to the back. And then using my fingers, I'm going to lightly press onto that pearlescent cardstock right in the center so that it pokes out a tiny little bit. And this is going to help me have a place to add the little locks onto this portion. And now, if because I had a little bit of excess, I did cut away a tiny little portion of that, but I'm going to repeat this 3 times. And again, I'm just using my thumbs to kind of push into that pearlescent cardstock so that it has a slight curve without actually folding it in half. And there you see, I just add 2 little drops of adhesive onto the back of this. I press the paper and I get it into position. And now I am going to be taking the vintage drop and using a small brush. I want that embossing to really stand out onto this paper because it is so very beautiful, and it is kind of the feature that stands out on these dies is that beautiful embossing. So I did this 3 times as well. Now it is a vintage drop, and if you don't know about Nuvo drops from Tonic Studios, the vintage drops are known for having a matte finish. However, because this one is in gold, it does have a little bit of shimmer, which is very subtle but very elegant, and I really like that. Now you're seeing me place the little Velcro dots on the back of these little ticket pieces, and I'm also just adhering the portion that is, I'm sorry, in the gold. And what I'm doing here is kind of anchoring this at opposite ends. So obviously all of the Velcro dots will go to one side, and then all of the anchored points will go to the opposite. And that's what I did here, was to add the Nuvo adhesive only to that little golden portion. And then on the opposite side, I added the little sticky dots of Velcro. Of course, as I mentioned before, you could do this with smaller magnets and it would maybe be a little bit more delicate, but it really depends on the paper that you're using. To embellish these little pieces, I did use some pearls that I had in my stash, and now I'm adding the little locks. Now, if you're curious as to how to create the locks, that is available in the other tutorial that I've already created and published. I'm going to be linking that below. But here's a view of the back of those little locks. You essentially cut out several layers of paper, you stack them together, adhere them with your Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive, and it's amazing what they can do. The designers from Tonic Studios just blow my mind with all the little things that they create. The details are just so fabulous. But here I'm very gingerly and carefully placing that portion of the lock, hooking it essentially onto that paper, and then I am making sure that the front portion just presses right in, because that's exactly how it closes, and only adhering the portion of the paper that's the actual embossed paper. So that way that little lock does have a little bit of movement. So I'm not trying to adhere the lock at all, is what I'm trying to say. And that's going to allow for those 3 little locks to be on the very front of this card. And here is the third one. What I did was that I cut out the little panels to decorate them. There are 4 different ones. There's one with a heart, one with a small key, one that embosses a sentiment that states locked with love, and the 4th actually looks like a little keyhole. So I've used 3 of those 4, and then I did cut 3 little keys, and using the pearlescent Nuvo drop, I'm then adding that hot pink color to the little heart. I also used the ribbon to thread through the 3 little keys, and that is a 3mm wide white ribbon from Tonic Studios, and then using one little dimensional adhesive, I place that on the back of the 3 keys. I wanted this to be still very delicate, and then you're seeing me place that ribbon toward the inside of the card, and it's just going to hang there. It's going to be just kind of, you know, shabby and sweet. So I just placed one little drop of Nuvo adhesive and pressed that ribbon, and that does it. So this is it for this card. I am going to be showing you the other card that I created using these dies, but I had a lot of fun creating with this. I hope that you've also enjoyed this tutorial. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. Thank you so much for watching.